When you awoke one day without your work pager going off, at an hour too late for your shift as a security guard, you immediately knew something was fishy. First of all, it was 12 p.m., and if you showed up to work 4 hours late, with the reason being you didn't get a message for once, there would be hell to pay. As you were getting dressed, your mind was racing with excuses. Car accident? No, the severe lack of dents and scratches on your vehicle would definitely come off as a little weird. And then, just as you were putting your shoes on, your tablet went off. Okay, that's it. That was the firing message. Oh god, you were fired, weren't you? But then, as you read it, your stomach turned. All employees, present or not, please meet in front of the Pizzaplex. This goes to the night shift as well. That sounded like an emergency. And what an emergency it was. The Pizzaplex was surrounded by police cars and fire trucks. Despite the front of the building looking fine, something inside must have gone awry. And as you had approached it, you realized the shattered glass, the broken Golden Freddy statue in the lobby, and the sad faces on everyone. And you felt a little off. Really, every human employee was here. Even people you never met due to conflicts in schedule. This included a really big, tough-looking Russian guy that you only heard about being called Terminator by everyone he had interacted with. His white security shirt was seemingly working overtime trying to contain his thick, muscular body. He was so scary looking that you immediately refocused on Brian, the leader of the day shift guards, who was explaining what had happened and what would happen over the next few months. Apparently, a sinkhole had opened up under the Pizzaplex, and while half of the plex was technically still functional, the rest had been sent down to hell. "And what about Vanessa?" asked someone. "Wasn't she on shift tonight?" The silence that had followed the question had been deafening. After such a turbulent day, about half of the Fazbear staff were transferred to other Fazbear franchises. A quarter of them quit. And the remaining ones, you among them, remained to help rebuilding. Honestly, you were glad the location wasn't fully lost. It was revealed to you and the others that remained that most animatronics still had usable data on them. This was important, as the internal servers had been completely destroyed. Days had passed since that, and by now the ruins had been declared safe enough to walk inside of. Honestly, you were glad for this tiny vacation. Didn't always happen that you had 3 weeks off paid without even trying. Things that were salvaged were parts and services. It just had a water leak and some fire damage, and the entire western wing. So in the worst case scenario, Fazbear could just clean up the ruins and turn the Pizzaplex into an arcade. Though Brian said he already joked about that and almost got fired. So he didn't dare try. If even the man who made your mom jokes at the Plex's owner on a casual basis got reprimanded so severely, thank God he didn't get fired. Brian, being the angel he was, brought a huge king-sized air mattress into parts and services, and some camping equipment like a gas burner, a folding table, and 2 folding chairs. After all, even though the Plex was destroyed, the guards needed to stand vigil to prevent looting. They even upgraded the tasers from a novelty Montgomery Gator taser to one with actual horsepower behind it, just in case. The animatronics were kept online, due to fears they would not turn back on. They all shared a singular, still-functioning charging station attached to emergency generators. Honestly, you wondered how their programming felt about this. Being broken down and burned, damaged beyond repair. It felt wrong to you to keep them in the state, while also telling them they would be repaired, even if they would just rip out their brains and put those into new skeletons. After all, the Pizzaplex had enough of those, as the endoskeleton training rooms were just below Bonnie Ball. You were sitting on the air mattress, bored, staring at your unresponsive security tablet. There were only like 2 cameras that still worked and showed you places of the Pizzaplex. One of them was pointing directly at the animatronics in storage. "Does little night guard want food?" asked a Russian voice from behind the protective dome. Because of the situation, at the moment you had come back to work, they had showered you with way too many shifts, but you understood why. The man asking about food was The man asking about the food was Terminator. The man was scaring you, so you had retreated to the comforts of the mattress. I'm not hungry," you stuttered, loud enough for him to hear. Up until now, you never interacted with him. This was your first shift together, yet he was acting so nonchalant. In fact, he didn't even introduce himself. He just sat down in the chair and stared, his hand on the holstered taser, though you doubted he would need that thing with him being a giant and all. In fact, this had been the first thing he said all night. You blinked. "You know what?" you said. Maybe he was just shy, maybe you were shy too, you thought, wondering if he felt as awkward as you did. Hesitantly, you got up on your feet. "I do want some grub, yes." Duh," he said affirmingly, though still meekly you made your way to the camping table. On a clean metal stick, he was holding a piece of raw meat over the burner. You blinked as he sat down. "You do know that Brian brought a little pot thing for that, right?" The Russian blinked. "The silly wheat man smokes pot with this?" You suppressed a giggle. No, I mean, like a pan to put on top of it." "Oh. How would someone smoke? You know what, never mind." While still holding the meat steady, he reached to his side. There stood a cooler. "Here's beef," he said. "Beef good for building muscle." As if he didn't need to build any more of muscle. "Will turn pretty little guard into strong woman." You blinked. Did you just call you pretty? He gave you another metal stick on which you awkwardly shoved the meat, before holding it over the flame. The fat was dripping off onto the tablecloth he had placed under the burner. After a minute or two, he already retreated his meat. It was still very much pink. However, you didn't say anything about it. After taking one bite, he smiled. The fact his stoic expression could change at all was a surprise to you. He then once again leaned to the side, picking up a salt shaker, putting just a little bit on the meat. After another bite, he leaned back, with a relaxing facial expression. "So, what's your name?" The man blinked at you in confusion. "Did Dimitri not tell Pretty Guard name?" Yes, Dimitri did not tell Pretty Guard his name." He smirked for a second before sitting up straight again. "Da. Name is Dmitri Popov, born in motherland of Russia. Beautiful country, beautiful people. Dmitri like a lord, but Dmitri's parents not like man in church, so leaving Mother Russia was goal, moving to America. Dmitri like America too, just not as pretty as Russia." "Pretty Guard understand?" "The summer's too hot." You suppressed a sigh. The more he spoke, the less tense you felt. Dimitri joined the American military, but then one day was sent to American border. Dimitri didn't like what Dimitri saw, so Dimitri quit. I'm guessing you won't tell me what that was. The man's face got a little serious now. Dimitri don't want to ruin mood. Also, Dimitri only tell family for moral support. Huh. Damn your goddamn curiosity, you really wanted to know. You inhaled. So, I need to join your family to know? Ugh, please don't play with Dimitri's heart. Sorry. He now removed the meat from the gas. It was a little black at the corners, but completely edible. May I? You asked as your hand hovered over his salt shaker. Duh. You shook some salt on the meat before eating it. It was perfect. It actually made you blush how well it's tasted. Your eyes darted up to him as he was putting more meat on his stick. Maybe it was the setting. So you looked around yourself. Parts and services had a fire breakout, followed by a pipe bursting. It looked just as damaged as the rest of the plex. Sheer luck it was all still functional. But maybe because of it, this felt incredible. Like camping in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. You were about to finish your meat when your security tablet made a notification sound. Wow, something is actually alive down here, you said. Holding your stick in one hand and a tablet in the other, you checked, and your eyes widened. Inside the storage, Monty was gone. Damn it. The animatronic was probably in the worst shape possible, cut in half, his hands missing, and jaw just loosely hanging. Dimitri, it's Monty, he's gone, you said. The Russian, however, didn't react. He quietly continued making his food. It's fine, pretty girl. Little lizard is not dangerous. You blinked perplexed. Does pretty girl not understand how lizards work? Let Dimitri explain. Little lizard like fighting and being rowdy. Dimitri will deal with problem when need be. Huffing, you returned to your seat. I just think it's irresponsible, I guess. Dimitri understand, but just let Dimitri deal with this when time is right. You watched the giant eat his meat, with the patience of a saint. After it was gone, he licked over the fatty remains on the stick before standing up, cracking his knuckles and his shoulders, before calmly stating, "Now Dimitri taste blood." You watched him leave in disbelief. Wait, was he going to fight the robot? Waiting a bit before following him, just in case, you're taking a med kit. It really sounded like he was about to throw hands with this murder robot. Approaching the storage unit, you could already hear the noises of creaking metal, metallic screams, and the groaning of a very angry Russian. With a racing heart, you peeked around the corner, to see none other than Dimitri, putting his foot down on Monty's chest. The machine was coughing and screaming glitched garbage noises. "Will you please go back to other machines?" asked the man in a jolly yet stern tone. Like it was just any other day at the office. The robot responded by shouting more glitchy nonsense. "Dimitri get paid for taking care of machine. So Dimitri take care of machine. Now please go back inside." After a few more seconds of the robot just wailing, He grabbed the machine by the throat and lifted him up. Without a second thought, he opened the storage unit's door and straight up threw the animatronic back into the room. He shut the door and pressed his back against it. The look on the Russian's face, though, was priceless. Despite the fact that he was bleeding, claw mark going right across his face, he was smiling. The man was actually enjoying this. After he stood there for a while, the gator stopped hitting the door, the muffled laughs of Roxanne Wolf soon coming from the storage unit. Despite the fact her eyes were gone, she must have clearly enjoyed the scuffle. Honestly, you did too. Dimitri then slid down the door, sighing with relief. And that's when you revealed yourself with the medkit. Ah, pretty guard. Did you see Dimitri do his job? Ah, did pretty guard see Dimitri do job? He said, smiling at you. Concerned, you kneeled down next to him. Fingers on the medkit zipper, ready to open it. You big oaf, why did you do that? You took out some disinfectant, spraying it on a clean cloth from the kit, to wash his face. He grunted. Out of all the things that happened tonight, you didn't expect him to actually react to the pain of something like this. Do you always do this? Little lizard machine like Dimitri. Looks more like hate to me, you thought. Every guard uses different plan to deal with rowdy machine. Dimitri's way is just very direct, and he likes it. He always laughs at me. You're lucky you don't need stitches. Duh. Lizard will never hurt Dimitri to the point where Dimitri needs hospital. Because Dimitri will then make sure that Lizard gets thrown on scrap heap. By Dimitri's hands. You don't want to try that. You smirked at the man. Yeah, I guess I can see that. Gently you disinfected his wound before checking up on the rest of his body. There were a few more scratches you needed to work at, and you ended up bandaging his right arm as it seemed like Monty's teeth had been dragged across it, very deeply as well. Ah, thank you, pretty guard, he said as he admired your work. Encouragingly, he slapped you on the back. You do good job, Dimitri like you. You then pushed your face against his chest and pouted. If you like me that much, please promise you don't do something stupid like that again. If you like me, then promise me something, Dimitri. Dimitri, listen. His large hand was gently patting your back. Don't do stupid stunts like this anymore. I don't want to worry about you, okay? You could hear his heart jump a beat. Dimitri understand. Dimitri promise, pretty guard, he will never do this again. Thank you. Hey, thank you for watching my video until the end. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and watch a few more. But before I say goodbye, I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe. I also have a Ko-fi and Patreon if you want to support me financially, and I also have a community Discord server. All links are down in the description. Hope you have a good day. Until next time.